Archangel Michael says, something happened on a night when even the stars seemed to dim. It was not a normal evening, it was a night soaked in schemes, shadows, and spiritual fire. Someone thought your final breath would be written before sunrise, but heaven had another plan. The sky was heavy, and something whispered danger. Their whispers turned into action, and their actions turned into a trap. They gathered in silence, planning what would be your fall, your ending, your disappearance. But that night, something sacred moved. There was a sudden shift in the winds that no man or woman could explain. A divine eye opened above your house and watched every single movement made against you. Archangel Michael says, as their hands moved in cruelty, your name was being written on a scroll of survival. You were not just saved, you were chosen to make it through what others died in. Because the very ones who marked your end are now haunted by the fact that you are still rising. Type Amen to get blessing 333. Someone lit a candle against you, hoping darkness would swallow your voice. But the same candle lit the truth that exposed their own shadows. They feared your light, so they tried to kill your silence. A certain woman, whose smile hides a venomous tongue, had already spoken lies in your name. She told people you were finished, that your days were behind you. But what she did not see was the angel standing behind your shoulder as she whispered. When they closed their doors to you, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. That night, when you sat alone, believing no one was fighting for you, the heavens were trembling for you. Lightning danced above rooftops because your name echoed across realms. One man said you would lose everything. He made a call, plotted something with another behind a locked door. But the call was intercepted, not by technology, but by divine order. Type Amen to get blessing 747. They wanted to erase your name, but instead, your story began. You were supposed to be the ending, but you became the prophecy. They underestimated your breath, your prayer, your protection. Someone held your photo in their hands. Not to love it, but to curse it. But the ink of your enemies cannot write over the promise already etched on your soul. You were covered, anointed, protected before they even thought of harming you. You walked into a room unaware that someone had already spoken curses over your seat. They laughed after you left, thinking the plan was complete. But by morning, that laughter turned into restless tossing. They could not sleep. There is a man who still remembers the exact words he said to end you. He regrets them now, because those very words have chained his own destiny. You survived what he sent, and now, he's the one hiding in silence. Type Amen to get blessing 111. Someone said, let's finish her tonight. They did not know the moon above you was listening. That very moon whispered your name to the skies, and survival was written in thunder. Archangel Michael says, they used your weakness as their entertainment. But your tears turned to weapons. What was meant to break you lifted you. There was no earthly help that night, but heaven didn't sleep. The place they buried your name was the same ground where new roots formed. The moment they laughed at your pain, angels were surrounding them with evidence of their wrong. The one who poured poison into your drink has now drunk from a cup of confusion. That room they met in to destroy your name? It now carries silence and shame. Each person who spoke against you now battles sickness of conscience. Type Amen to get blessing 918. One friend turned into a betrayer. They smiled while hiding the truth under their sleeves. But their actions opened doors you were never meant to walk through until now. The woman who lit the red candle that night did it with confidence. She thought she was untouchable, invisible, and protected by secrecy. But a divine hand blew that candle out before it finished burning. You were not supposed to see sunrise, but instead, you saw the sunrise with fresh glory. Your lungs filled with air that came from mercy itself. They paid someone to deliver you into destruction, but that person couldn't go through with it because your presence shook them. You have no idea how close they came, but you were unreachable. Type Amen to get blessing 544 if you wish to express your support further. You have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Someone had recorded your name in a list for elimination. But that list caught fire under the pressure of your prayers. The ash of that list was carried away by the same wind sent to protect you. Every step you took after that night was guided, preserved, destined. The dreams you had afterward were more than images, they were instructions. You walked past traps without even seeing them. They watched you the next morning, shocked that you were smiling. They expected your head to be low, your body tired, your voice broken. But you looked like royalty who had just come from a war wearing a crown. You have a glow that burns through jealousy now. Every time you enter a room, the air shifts. Even those who try to ignore you can't stop watching you now. Type Amen to get blessing 220. Archangel Michael says, your survival wasn't accident, it was sacred resistance. You were too covered to be touched, too anointed to be broken. And now, those who once cursed you are searching for healing in the ashes of what they tried to burn. The woman who spread stories about you can't find peace now. She checks your page, your name, your photo, every hour. She wants to know why your light isn't dimming. A man is losing sleep trying to figure out why his plan didn't work. He thought he had you figured out, but forgot to calculate heaven. His pride now crumbles at the sound of your laughter. The group that sat together in secret now sits apart in confusion. They can't meet again because the power of your survival exposed their cracks. One by one, they are turning against each other. Type Amen to get blessing 863. The doctor who said you wouldn't make it cannot explain your recovery. Your healing defies paperwork, logic, and medicine. Because your case was taken out of man's hands and placed in God's, someone even visited a dark practitioner that night. They whispered your name over things not meant to be touched. But that name, your name, was sealed in gold, not wax. They underestimated your roots. You come from strength, even if you never saw it growing up. It lives in you, flows through you, and rises when you're in danger. You could have screamed, but you stayed still. You could have broken, but you bent like a warrior tree. That night tested everything in you, and you won without a sword. Type Amen to get blessing 626. You are still here. That alone has power. They erased your number, but not your influence. They cut you off, but not the blessings that follow you. They said, nobody will believe her. But now, your truth is backed by undeniable evidence, and people are starting to see clearly who lied and who lived. You were judged unfairly by voices who knew nothing about your fight. But you stayed silent, and silence wrote your legacy. Now, your reward is being written across the sky like a new beginning. There are still people who don't understand how you're glowing. Let them wonder, let them whisper. Let them watch. Your presence is louder than their curses. Type Amen to get blessing 334. This message was not for everyone. It's for the one who made it through the night no one was supposed to survive. It's for the one who smiles now but bled in silence. Your survival scared them more than your pain. Because they now know you're more than a person, you are a prophecy walking. Each step you take echoes a warning to those who tried to stop you. You are not what they thought. You are beyond their understanding. And that truth is your eternal protection. Archangel Michael says, you didn't just survive, you transformed. You rose out of the fire with a message written in your very existence. Now, nothing they do can touch what has already been sealed in the heavens. Type Amen to get blessing 999. They still think you're the same person they targeted. But something divine happened when they moved against you. That night changed your entire spiritual identity. You became untouchable. The more they talked, the more the universe closed their mouths. Each word spoken to end you came back like an echo wrapped in justice. They didn't expect the tables to turn this fast. But they're spinning now. Someone is scared to open their mouth about you again. Because the last time they lied, everything in their life started breaking. They can't speak your name anymore without feeling a cold wind of warning. Your spirit now carries the mark of survival. Not everyone will understand your silence, your glow, your strength. But those who tried to bury you feel it. They know you're protected beyond measure. Type Amen to get blessing 717. That woman who tried to embarrass you now avoids every room you enter. Not because she's ashamed, but because your presence is her reminder of failure. She lost the battle she never should have started. The man who said you were over now scrolls through your photos in secret. He sees the fire in your eyes and the light that refused to fade. He's too proud to admit it, but he's shocked you're still standing. They even tried to switch others against you. But those people ended up coming to you for help when they got burned too. Your enemies built a circle of betrayal that collapsed on themselves. That very night, when the candles burned and names were spoken in wrong places. Lightning cracked without thunder. It was not weather, it was a warning. Type Amen to get blessing 459. You've been walking with quiet fire since that moment. And people are starting to feel it when they touch your name. You don't need revenge, your survival is louder than war. Some of the very ones who watched it all unfold now pretend they were never part of it. They left no messages, no support, no words for you then, but now they watch from the shadows, hoping you'll forget. You didn't just win. You were transformed into the kind of person who walks through flames untouched. Their worst fear wasn't your failure, it was your recovery. They've seen it. You shine now like someone kissed by grace, and it haunts them. Type Amen to get blessing 555. Some still gather, trying to figure out why it didn't work. They blame each other, accuse each other, distance from each other, because something divine interrupted what they swore would be the end. You were not weak, you were tested. You were not lost, you were hidden. You were not broken, you were being built. They keep thinking you had help from someone powerful. They're right, but it wasn't a man, it was the hand of heaven. You were not supposed to hear what they said about you. But the wind heard, and the skies wrote it down. Type Amen to get blessing 202. That night will forever be remembered by your enemies. Not because of what they did, but because of what failed. They tasted the edge of their own evil and couldn't digest it. One of them even confessed to another that they regret everything. They admitted that hurting you only cursed their own path. Now they walk in silence, burdened by what they tried to birth in you. They have no idea how you found out. They wonder how you're still glowing. Still moving, still reaching new heights, but it's not their place to understand, it's your destiny to live beyond them. This is your justice. Not by swords, not by noise, but by elevation, you were raised without needing to push anyone down. Type Amen to get blessing 818. Archangel Michael says, your rise is silent but thunderous. You don't need to speak, the wind now tells your story. Each time they doubt you, something good finds you. They should have stopped at jealousy. But they took it to wickedness, and that's where they lost. You didn't fight back, but the heavens did for you. There is a man who still watches you from a distance. He's ashamed of what he let others do while he stood by. He thinks about messaging you, but his silence has already spoken enough. One of them tried to return into your life with fake love. But your spirit can now sense deceit before it even arrives. You're not cold, you're just guarded by lessons written in blood. Type Amen to get blessing 404. They will tell others you changed. But you didn't change, you awakened. You opened your eyes and saw the wolves behind the smiles. The people who tried to bury you now speak of you carefully. They're afraid to be too loud when your name comes up. They know they didn't just fail, they played with something sacred. The woman who once celebrated your downfall now hides her own, she is trying to mimic your past. But it's not working. Because what you have can't be copied, it was earned in fire. You are no longer trying to prove yourself to anyone. You have seen betrayal, faced spiritual storms, and survived traps. And now, you walk in quiet victory. Type Amen to get blessing 666. The skies wrote your survival the night they tried to end you. That night became holy, not for what they did, but for what didn't happen. You were spared not just for your sake, but for generations to come. You may not have heard it, but your name was whispered by angels. They stood at the edge of your room while you slept. They blocked things you weren't even aware of. The man who laughed that night now walks with guilt. He's been losing things one by one. Not because of you, but because karma found his address. Your silence was never weakness. It was the sound of power being shaped. And now, every echo of that silence is thunder in the ears of those who wronged you. Type Amen to get blessing 121. The night didn't defeat you, it announced you. That was the moment the old version of you died, and the divine version awakened. They touched the surface of your pain but never reached your core. There's a woman who can't stop revisiting what she did. She's not sorry, she's scared. Scared of how your life keeps blooming while hers remains stuck. Archangel Michael says, don't return to that moment. You are no longer the person they betrayed. You are now the person heaven reveals in victory. You didn't just live, you were reborn. You didn't just rise, you were reshaped. And now, your glow can't be ignored, denied, or dimmed. Type Amen to get blessing 777. Their plot failed. Their silence speaks guilt. And your light now speaks truth, the very night they tried to end you. The skies declared your legacy. And that legacy will live long after they've forgotten their own names. You don't need to remember every detail of that night. What matters is that heaven remembered you. And heaven made sure the skies wrote, survived. Type amen to get blessing 000. You were never supposed to walk again with your head high. They thought shame would bury you in silence forever. But what they didn't see coming was the crown of survival being fitted on your head in secret. Now every step you take sends vibrations across the very ground they cursed you on. The land remembers your pain, and now it rejoices in your healing. The ground they planned your burial on became the soil of your rebirth. You didn't grow in comfort, you rose in fire. You didn't smile from ease, you smiled through warfare. That smile now stings the eyes of every watcher who hoped you'd fall. Archangel Michael says, the miracle wasn't just that you lived, it's that you still have your heart intact. You still love, still feel, still care even after all they did. And that is the real victory. They couldn't poison your soul. Type amen to get blessing 881. There was a photo of you passed around in a group that night. They laughed, thinking you were done. But your name began trending in heaven before it trended on earth. One woman bit her own lip in jealousy. She never believed you'd recover. Now, she's trying to copy your path in silence, still lost, still chasing shadows. You don't owe anyone your story. They weren't there when you couldn't sleep. They weren't holding you when your breath shook with fear. The room they plotted in is no longer safe for them. Each time they return, their minds are filled with your image. Not your brokenness, but your glow, your rise, your divine walk. Type amen to get blessing 200. Someone tried to take your name and place it under chains. They tried to erase your dignity, remove your future. But now, the skies sing your name in victory. There's an energy around you now that stops the wrong people in their tracks. They can't get close even when they try. Because the fire surrounding you is not of this world. It's the shield of the divine. They told others lies about what happened to you. But now, the truth is dripping through every crack. People are starting to question what they once believed about you, the woman who sat at the center of the scheme. Her house now trembles with whispers she cannot silence. Even her dreams are filled with the image of you. Walking strong, untouched. Type amen to get blessing 909. The pain didn't change you, it purified you. Your soul is sharper, your mind is clearer, your path is brighter. And no one can dim that light now. You no longer live just for survival, you walk in legacy. You were sent back from the edge to become the very proof that angels do war for the chosen. You don't have to scream your worth, your breath already speaks it. They expected you to disappear, but now, every time they open their phone, your name echoes back at them. You are their reminder that no weapon formed against you could finish its sentence. You are here because heaven said yes, you are rising because destiny said now. And you are glowing because the skies rewrote your ending into a beginning. Type amen to get blessing 122. Someone who stayed quiet when they should have spoken is now filled with regret. They let the evil unfold in front of them and chose comfort over courage. But now, their silence eats away at their peace. You, on the other hand, have regained more than you lost. Your spirit carries royalty. Your presence is no longer ordinary, it is known in realms you cannot see. There was a time when you cried and no one heard, but that night, even the stars paused in silence, hearing your soul call for rescue. And the answer came, not loudly, but in protection. Now every tear you shed has been turned into strength. Every scar is a symbol of how far you've come. And every breath you take shakes the very foundation of the ones who plotted. Type Amen to get blessing 365. They said you'd never laugh again, but your joy today is a sword they cannot stand near. It cuts through the air they breathe, truth they cannot deny. Some of them now sit in circles pretending they were never part of it, but one look into their eyes reveals the guilt they carry. They walk with nervousness now, unsure when their lies will be uncovered. Your peace is loud now, your silence speaks volumes. You became exactly what they feared you would be, a survivor they can't erase. You've become a walking revelation. People look at you and see the unexplainable. They see survival, they see purpose, they see God's fingerprint. Type Amen to get blessing 777 now. You are being positioned. The skies that once wrote your survival are now writing your rise. Doors are about to open that no enemy can block. Those who spoke behind closed doors will now watch your name shine on open platforms. They'll scroll in silence, pretending not to care. But inside, they'll know, you made it through what would have killed them. Your name carries new oil now. It cannot be touched, mocked, or denied. It is holy, protected, sealed in glory. The day they tried to end you was their own beginning of exposure. You didn't lose, you were just rerouted. And that reroute is becoming the greatest journey of your life. Type Amen to get blessing 888. This message finds you in a place of shift, because you're about to walk into rooms that were once locked with your name scratched out. But now, you're